So this week we've been looking at some of the different things, not all of the different things. The Bible talks quite a lot about the end times when you begin to look at it. So we could spend a long time looking at different signs of the end times, and I'm not going to do that. But I'm just going to close in this one thing this week, and we're going to begin talking about something else next week. But the Apostle Paul said in 2 Timothy chapter 3, beginning in verse 1, "But realize this, that in the last days difficult times will come." In the last days, difficult times will come. So in the last days, things are going to be very difficult. Things are going to be very trying. It's especially going to be extraordinarily difficult being a Christian. You know, when we look at that, I believe two things are going to happen in the last days when it comes to Christians. I believe, number one, I believe those who are not really Christians and just pretending to be Christians and have believed a lie, I believe they're going to flee. And we're seeing that right now. We're just seeing just a massive exodus out of the church because it's becoming more and more difficult to become, to be a Christian in our society today. And so the days of cultural Christianity are over with. And so we just can't blend in with the rest of the world while pretending to be a Christian. Notice I said pretending to be a Christian because a Christian has never blended in with the rest of the world. But realize this, in the last days, difficult times will come. And so Paul then describes what men will be like during these last days. He said, for men to be lovers of self. Wow, does that not describe the world today? Lovers of money. Are we not a greedy society, and all about me society? You know, get my stuff and step on everybody else on the way up. Boastful, arrogant, revilers, disobedient to parents. Wow, that's a big one. You know, I've worked in the school systems a lot, and I've heard a lot of people say that, a lot of these students just need to have their behinds tore up. And I tell them a lot of times, a lot of these parents just need to have their behinds tore up because they're not raising their children because they're lovers of self. And that's the world we live in. Lovers of self, and as a result of the fruit of that, children don't know how to be children because they've had no proper influence within their lives, and so therefore they're disobedient to parents. Ungrateful, it says right here, ungrateful for everything. You know, I go into foreign countries, I go into third world countries, and we give people things, and as we give people things, they're so appreciative of it. They're so thankful for it because nobody ever gives them anything, and so we go over there, we give them eyeglasses, we give them medication, and we give them Bibles, and man, people wept over just us giving them a Bible, and so we take that so for granted in our society today. And you give somebody in the United States something today, and they're going to say, "Is that it? Is that all?" Ungrateful. And so they want more, and they want more, and they want more. Unholy. You want to give a one-word definition of society today? Unholy. Unloving. We're an unloving society. We talked about that the other day, where we're just full of hate and rage. Irreconcilable. If we disagree, well, we're not going to come to terms with it because we're going to be irreconcilable. Man, that's what's wrong with the political world today. We just can't have intellectual disagreement over certain things. Man, we're just going to go to all-out war and be irreconcilable towards one another. Malicious gossips. Going around spreading false news and spreading false, fake things and about one another for the purpose of trying to tear one another down. Without self-control, everything's an addiction today, isn't it? Well, the Bible says you don't have any self-control. Brutal, haters of good, anything that's good, we're going to hate it. Anything that's right, we're going to absolutely hate it and stand adamantly opposed to it. Treacherous, reckless, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. You know, folks used to get upset because they started having ball practice and ball games on Wednesday nights, and it was taking away from church. And now we've got folks that used to be involved in church that are taking their children to participate in sports even on Sundays now. Wonder why their children grow up and don't want to have anything to do with God, because you just got through telling them that ball game was more important than God. That's what you told them. No matter about the words that come out of your mouth, your actions speak louder than your words. Lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. I had somebody tell me one time I was about to start a worship service, and he says, kickoff's at 12:30, so we need to be out of here by at least 12 o'clock. And I said, that's not going to happen. I don't care about kickoff. That's not going to happen. We're here to worship God. And isn't He worthy? Holding to a form of godliness, although they have denied the power. And you see, that's the key right there. They hold to a form of godliness. This form of godliness that to the rest of the world, it might look godly, might look holy, might look all right. But they have denied the power. You know what they have? They have religion. They don't have a life-transforming, a life-altering, a power that the gospel that has impacted them and changed them. A form of godliness. Well, they go to church on Sunday, but live like heathens every other day. They claim to know Jesus. They claim to walk with Jesus. They claim to talk with Jesus. And they have a form of godliness, but the power to transform their lives and change them from all of those things we just mentioned, they've denied that power. And His name is Jesus. Paul said that's what the world's going to look like in the last days. I look at the world today. That's what the world looks like today, friends. It's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. It's not getting any better. And friends, in order for your life to be transformed, you need Jesus. Him and Him alone. Because the power of the gospel, if you allow it to truly get a hold of you, it will transform you. That won't be you anymore. You'll begin to more and more look like Jesus and less look like the world. Today, the church is looking more and more like the world and less like Jesus, because they hold to a form of godliness but have denied the power. The good news is if we allow Him to, Jesus can and Jesus will transform us. So would you share this video so others can hear it and others can receive it once they believe it?